Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. So it is that time of the month again where we look at horror movies that I found genuinely scary. Really quickly, I just want to say thank you so much for clicking on this video, even if you just like skip around and not listen to me. You clicking on this video makes my day, so thank you so much genuinely. And also keep in mind, horror is subjective, so if I find something scary and you don't, it's just a matter of opinion. So we're all on board with that? Cool? Cool. Enough flibber flabbering, let's get right into the films. So we are kicking off this list with an absolute classic, a blast from the past, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think what makes this film so scary to me and a lot of others who have seen it back in the day and even now is the fact that it was made on this very small budget and it has this insanely thick atmosphere throughout the whole entire film that never lets up. It is gritty, it is dark, it is very disturbing. And that is in part because this movie was made on a budget of $140,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's around $900,000 today. But when it comes to movies, that is a small budget to be filming a full feature-length film. And Hooper honestly knocked it out of the park with this film with the budget that he had. Just being in the home of Leatherface really adds this deeply unsettling atmosphere the whole entire time the main characters are in this house. And hold up, do you guys smell that? What is that smell? All right, listen, I love you guys, but you really have to step up your smell game. I can smell your odorly musk from here. That is where today's sponsor comes in to help you, Scentbird. Can you focus, please? Jeez. Spent like $600 on this camera and it can't even focus. So the TLDR of Scentbird is that if you want to try out different fragrances, you want to see what smells best on you, you can try that through Scentbird. I was not familiar with Scentbird's game until I showed it to my friend that I was working with them and they were like, oh, Scentbird. My friend is really big into fragrances and he was honestly so surprised. And when I tell you my friend is a hyper fixated fan on fragrances and he loves Scentbird, that should tell you more than enough. So Scentbird was nice enough to send me 4 different fragrances and they honestly come in these really cool packages, very high quality. All you do is just turn this baby down here, turn it to the left, and yeah, you're good to go. It sprays. And just like that, boom, opened up and it tells you everything you need to know right here. This one is Moodao Rockstar. This one is probably my favorite. Next one is Confessions of a Rebel Thirst Trap. You trying to pick up some ladies, trying to pick up some dudes, pop this on. They're gonna be swimming to you. That's not guaranteed. It smells good. Next one up is Ormani Jane, and the flavor. And the smell is Ormani Man. I'm gonna have to start wearing this. Maybe it'll pop a few chest hairs on me. And the final one is Black Magenta. When it comes to like cologne and fragrances, I usually can't tell the difference between them, but these are all distinctively different and they fit a different type of person. They even come with these really cool cards to tell you what you should be smelling. And I think I like the Punk Star one the most because it definitely does have more of an apple smell to it. It's just more citrusy. It really makes you feel like a fruit. And you know who's attracted to fruit? People who like fruit. So you'll get someone who likes fruit, all right. So the reason Scentbird is so amazing is that it is a subscription service. You get to try your first fragrance with Scentbird for $8, and then your next month will only be $16.95. It is very affordable. So with Scentbird, you can actually change your fragrances every single month. So this means you don't have to spend $300 to $500 on full-size bottles, and there are over 700 fragrances to choose from. And 2 of the brands that are on there are Prada and Versace. You know how expensive those bad boys are? As I showed you, Scentbird comes in very convenient packaging with the magnetic covers, so your vials are always safe and you can transport them anywhere. So if you want to expand your knowledge on fragrances and see what works best for you, you can use code Zeark or scan the QR code right here to get 50% off your first month with Scentbird. So overall, Scentbird saves you a bunch of money, gets you into a brand new hobby, makes you smell even better, and you can achieve all of these things by using code Zeark for 55% off or scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description if you want to do that as well. There'll also be a pinned comment that you can go to, and thank you so much Scentbird for sponsoring this video. And guys, seriously, go order some perfume, dude. I can't take the smell. Now, let's get back to the video. And I have noticed that I do get some flack for adding movies that I saw as a kid, but I do try to rewatch most of the movies that I add into these videos to make sure they're actually scary. And yes, this film definitely still holds up. And yeah, maybe I agree, seeing this film as a child probably made it even scarier today, but this is my list. I don't know what to tell you. I remember specifically the dinner scene in this film really gave me the creeps. Even now, it is absolutely terrifying to watch and sit through. And one more aspect that adds to the terror of this film is that it was based loosely off of a true story about a guy who made like lampshades and shit with people's skin. What the fuck? And even the intro of this film sets it up to be based on a true story, which it is very loosely based on a true story. But dude, it is 1974. No one's fact checking that shit. If your parents saw this, or I don't know, someone in your family around the time when this came out, I could almost guarantee that they thought this movie actually was based on a real true story. So yeah, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it definitely deserves to be on this list. And as you know, excitingly, October is coming up. I'm going to make a bunch of videos about horror films during October, and this will probably be on one of the lists because I really do recommend this film, especially around October. So yeah, stick around for that. October is going to be a really fun month for this channel. And yeah, let's move on to the next film. So the next film on this list is Funny Games. I have a whole entire separate video dedicated to this film. That's how much it really disturbed me, freaked me out, and scared the shit out of me. This one is kind of a weird one to put on the list because I don't believe it is scary in the traditional sense. I think it's a film that really affects you afterwards, and the scariest part about this movie is how realistic it feels. I also quickly want to add that there is a remake of this film. I'm pretty sure it is completely fine, but I really do recommend watching the original film. So if you see Naomi Watts when you start that movie up, just go watch the other one. Also, what is up with Naomi Watts being in these like horror remakes? I'm pretty sure she was just in the Goodnight Mommy remake that came out in 2022, and she was also in Funny Games. What is she doing? Why is she doing this? Anyway, the synopsis of Funny Games is that when Anne, husband George, and son Georgie arrive at their holiday home, they are visited by a pair of polite and seemingly pleasant young men. These young men are armed with deceptively sweet smiles and some golf clubs. Who wrote this? I'm sorry. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna read because you definitely need to check this movie out blind if you want to be as traumatized as I was. If you've seen this film, there are some scenes that obviously I still think about to this day. This movie tends to break the fourth wall a lot, which I thought is honestly kind of cool, but it adds to the frustration and the annoyance of this film, and then adds to the overall disturbingness of it and the fear that I felt. There are scenes where one of the boys, we'll call them the boys, is talking directly to you, and this happens multiple times. You know what? Fuck it. Spoiler review. Right here is where the spoiler review starts. This movie is absolutely terrifying in my opinion, one of the most disturbing that I have ever seen. And from here on out, I will be talking about spoilers. So if you do not want to hear it, look at the timestamp. Just skip to the part where there isn't any spoilers in the timestamp, or skip to this time right here. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, spoiler zone. So the thing that makes this movie absolutely so disturbing and scary is the fact that I personally do not come from a place where I see a lot of in films. I feel like it is very censored when it comes to American films in particular. This is not an American film, and I'm not sure how the laws and regulations are, but holy shit, when they shoot the kid and his body is just laying there on the ground, and they have that one still shot of the mother grieving over the fact that her son and her husband were both shot in front of her and are dead. Yeah, that scene alone just breaks my heart every single time I see it. It is so creepy, unnerving, and disturbing. I just remember not being able to breathe during that scene. It is actually that disturbing. And also to add on to that, when he grabs the remote when his brother dies and rewinds that shit, that is so annoying, but I honestly loved it. This isn't a movie made for the viewer. This is a movie made it's an anti-audience movie. Like, I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know why I enjoy it. Obviously, I shouldn't, but it is just so different and almost refreshing in this genre. And I think that's why it hit me so hard, is because I've never seen anything like this. And this movie doesn't have a happy ending. There is no happy ending to this film. Everybody dies and then they restart again. It's just such a realistic feeling movie. That's why it scared me so bad. And if you have seen this, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, unless you just don't like the film, then yeah, that's your opinion. Yeah, Funny Games is definitely a movie that I will never watch ever again, and I know that for a fact. The thing is, I have seen the movie twice, and I think the only reason I would rewatch it is because the person I'm watching it with hasn't seen it yet, and I want to get their reaction, but I don't know if I want to do that again. I think twice is enough. All right, now let's move on to the final film on this list. And if you're in the spoiler area, type in the comments. Let's think of a word. Say Chicken Little. Say Chicken Little in the comments. All right, now let's get on to the next film. So the final movie in this list is actually going to be kind of different. I don't think I've ever done this before. I'm going to be including 2 movies into this final part. And the reason I have to include both of them is because they're scarier for different reasons. And it would be just wrong to leave them both out, so I'm just going to include both of them. The final film is The Hills Have Eyes, the 1977 version and the 2006 remake. So the original 1977 was made by Wes Craven. If you're a fan of horror, this guy does not need any introduction. He's directed some of the most iconic horror movie franchises such as Scream and The Nightmare on Elm Street. And the last film that Wes Craven ever worked on was Scream 4. Rest his soul, he passed away in 2015. But he worked on the 1977 film The Hills Have Eyes. The synopsis of this film is Wes Craven's cult classic about cannibalistic mountain folk, including the Carter family, who are on the trail of stranded vacationers in the arid Southwest Californian desert. And the reason I'm including both of these films, the remake and the original, is because yes, the original is an absolute classic. It is scary with its own reasons. It is disturbing. But the 2006 remake takes this movie and fucking turns it to 11. I would argue that the Hills Have Eyes remake is probably one of the most tense, graphic, and disturbing horror films that you can watch to this day. When I went into this film when I was around 10 years old, guys, I know, I saw a lot of really fucked up horror movies when I was a kid. It's not my parents' fault. They didn't really want me watching it, but you know how kids be, you know? Also, I really just want to add, there was this game called Gun back in the day, and I'm still mad at my parents for never letting me buy it. I don't really know if it was a good game, but I always wanted it because it said gun and it was rated M. Okay, sorry. There is one scene in particular in the remake that is so hard to watch. It's the scene where the cannibals break into the family's motorhome or whatever you want to call it. And that sequence is so tense, so disturbing that it's insane. I don't know how to describe it. And I just want to repeat this. It is so violent. This movie is insanely gory. And I'm not saying this as a negative. This is 100% a positive. I know a lot of people take recommendations from the movies that I suggest. For Funny Games and also this movie, I do have to give a warning, like a trigger warning. If you are sensitive to things like assault, don't watch these. Definitely do not watch these films. This also came out around a time where horror films were just looking so grungy and dirty and stinky. It's like the lens was just covered in this yellow filmic piss. I don't know what it was, but it just adds to the atmosphere, dude. It really adds to these films. This movie is definitely not for the faint of heart. I would recommend it if you're a fan of like really gory, fucked up horror movies, but this is, yeah, like I said, definitely not for the faint-hearted, for sure. And to make matters even worse, I was aware as a child that this movie took place in California. And literally maybe like 2 years after I saw it, maybe a year, we moved to California. And low-key in the back of my mind, I was looking out at those deserts, dude, and I was like, they're out there and they're waiting for me. I would also like to add that the protagonists in this film are actually not that stupid. So it really added to the longevity of this film to see what they're going to do next. It's not like, you know, the generic horror trope where they do the stupidest thing imaginable and you knew it was coming. And yeah, I think it's a hard film to watch. It's definitely scary to me. And that is the final movie on this list. Guys, make sure you stay tuned for October. I'm going to be doing a whole heap of videos talking about my favorite Halloween films. Not the Halloween franchise, but that probably will get in there. The holiday of Halloween and things alike. It's going to be spooky October. You guys have to be excited for this. Come on. So yeah, with all of that being said, I really do hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for blessing me with your presence today. And yeah, even if some of the other videos aren't doing too well recently, I'm still going to be pumping these out for you guys because at the end of the day, they're fun for me to make. I love talking about movies. I love talking to you guys in the comments about movies. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, great night. And once again, thank you so much, Scentbird, for sponsoring this video. And make sure to use my code Zeark or scan the QR code to get 55% off at Scentbird for your first month. You can get the product for half of the price, that's just $8, and your next month will only be $16.95. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Scentbird, for sponsoring the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.